J-E-L-L-O.
It's totally worth it.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you a man who hasn't made a picture in over a year and still thinks he's a movie star, Jack Benny.
Hello again. This is Jack Benny talking. And, Don, I don't know what brought the subject up, but it might interest you to know that you don't have to make a picture every 5 minutes to be considered a movie star.
Well, Jack, I didn't mean that.
You know, after all, Adolf Zucker, the head of Paramount, gave me a 4-year contract. And Mr. Zucker certainly knows his onions.
He certainly signs them up, too.
Mary, you don't come in till the next page.
Oh.
All right, so hello again. This is Ben Hitchcock Cross talking to you today. Got a couple of short topics that I'm hoping to do here. The first one, I have to say, I don't live in the city of Milwaukee. I live outside the city of Milwaukee. Won't deny it. And we have really nice roads. I take a freeway that's under construction to my office. My office is a block off the freeway, if you want to call it that. Oh, my God. It used to not even be 20 feet off the freeway. It was super dangerous, but super fun. And then they made everything safer. And I have to go through 2 lights now, so that can whatever. Man, those were the days. It was a secret passageway that led to this alley that went to the back of my office. But only immediately after you got off of this parking ramp. So not only did you have to go, or the exit ramp, you have to go up this hill, but then there was a fence, and then maybe 10 feet after that, there was the turn to go to this alley to my office. And the thing about it is there's the big police station is right by where I work. So the cars that are usually coming either from behind me or down that road, that one-way road, are all police officers. So I had tricks where I would go slowly and give them a blotch of awareness because, believe me, they like signals. But yeah, like I said, it was always entertaining because you knew the stakes were going to be pretty high if you hit them. Because because they can ticket you. We know how that's going to go. Anyways, man, I forgot about that. It's been 15 years since that's the case, but that was awesome. It was like there was an exit to the freeway just for me, and couldn't get better than that. Anyways, those days are gone. So I take my daughter to some kind of class in the morning, and it's in the city, right near my old school, Golda Meir, woohoo. And Golda Meir actually went there, in fact. And so we went, dropped her off there, and the streets are somewhat better than after a bombing campaign, let's say 1945 level of bombing, I would say. Not quite Sarajevo, but getting there. And certainly a disgrace to any first world country. That we can say for whatever metric you want to say. For Wisconsin, the standard of roads here are, there's one standard for everywhere, and then there's another standard for Wisconsin, Milwaukee. And it's kind of shocking sometimes. So we're coming through there, and Milwaukee has a lot of these kind of roads. In fact, we were a pioneer in developing the concrete road laying system, and boy, did we go to whole hog on that one. So we've got a lot of these nice roads where there's basically 3 lanes, one for parking and then 2 on either side with a boulevard. And the fact is, even without a boulevard, in the last 5-10 years, people have driving attitudes that you had not seen were just shocking. Like running red lights and serious speeding have all of a sudden become the norm in the last 10 years, 5 years for sure. And it was getting, that was one of the things that was just sort of the limit when I was living in Milwaukee and I almost got plowed into by a mail truck running a red light like it was a stop sign. I found that frustrating. So, what am I saying? And look, to the extent it's absolutely clear by my actions going to speak louder than words that, I don't live in that area. And I don't want, and I have moved out. I live in a suburban area that we call White Folks Bay, for sure. And there's no doubt about it that that this is a problem. What I'm trying to identify here is not so much these people as why in the hell do we have a society that allows this to happen, okay? Then we're going to go on to a broader issue of sort of how this metaphor flows so much into everything that we're talking about, including the Novak hearings. So we are the solution to people driving too fast, and they call it traffic calming, is this. So let's see what I got here. Bam, that's pretty impressive. Okay. So you can see, I think I've set it so there's no sound, hopefully. We've got this. I mean, this is like 2 inches. You see that. It's kind of shocking. I want to put that up just so you get the sense. I mean, look at that. You're driving next to it. And this is what I was just driving next to one of these. I think they're 18 inches off the ground. So they're calling them bump outs, okay? And Capitol Drive, oh my gosh, okay. So anybody who knows the city of Milwaukee will know that Congress Street, Capitol Drive, 60th Street, Fond du Lac, and 51st Street, they might as well be saying Black Street, Brown Street, Minority Street, and so forth. No question. Department of Public Works says the bump outs are part of major push on traffic calming. All right, it just looks like it makes the street a bit more narrow with these big old speed bumps or whatever they're called. All right, so look, there's no question that the people driving too fast is totally a problem, okay? And one of the reasons that started, I remember, was that I think 5-6 years ago, I almost got hit by a police car. They were like going after everybody, just like the police and the whatever the people that they were going after were being, were doing this like hot rodding through the city thing. And then finally, I think they put a stop to the police chasing them because that was causing deaths. But the problem beyond that was, I mean, it's bad if you're running from a speeding ticket but it's also, is it better for everybody if you're a paraplegic? I mean, sometimes the answer is no. So the point is that where we had this 2-lane highway and, but now there's, I mean, seriously, when I was driving here normally, there are potholes that are 6 inches deep. And the solution or the broad plan is not to fix that. It's to put up these like patently dangerous bump outs, which not only are going to be, as everybody says here, they're going to be just absolute disaster for the snow plowing. And they're going to be absolute disasters in the snow because people are going to hit those. And I mean, that's going to be bad. But the point is that the attitude and the way to solve the problem here, much like we see with Novak, is let's not really fix the core issue here, which is, what are the acceptable behaviors for driving, and is it acceptable to have most of the roads in the state of Wisconsin be in a pretty darn good state of repair, versus the ones in the city of Milwaukee, which are just abysmal. And, the tax of that, meaning the people who have to live in the city of Milwaukee have to deal with these roads that are just awful. But then the attitude towards the government of how to deal with the problem is to make everything completely worse for everybody. And it's just from a design standpoint, again, the concept is to narrow the lanes. I get that. To reduce everything to one lane instead of two, to keep people from flying around. I get that. But it did seem like, that money could have been spent. It seems if they've got money to put this everywhere, they could fix these roads. And number two, I don't understand why the solution to a problem is to restrict let's put it like this. Those roads existed in that condition, meaning 3 lanes, for about 100 years now. And for 90 some years, people were able to not joyride on those roads. And we were able to keep people from doing that as a society without resorting to physically restricting the roads and going back in, let's say, civilization for everybody. So that's, what I'm trying to say is now we've in those areas, for example, they've gone from a situation where there was 2 lanes to a situation where there's 1. And we can have a broader discussion about, are 2 lanes better than 1 or not? But my thought in all that is, from a civilization standpoint, it does seem like this is a restriction here. And it's we had space that was being used for something, now is being used for nothing, because the bureaucrats couldn't find, this was literally the only solution that they could find. And so much of that is exactly how the attitude towards how should we deal with the prison escape and the fence. And we'll blame Sue Novak, even though we know what the real problem is that we allowed a warden to dictate that the fence would be put, that there would be razor wire in between this fence. And therefore, it's in the purpose, the macho purpose of inflicting wounds on people trying to escape. So, and for whatever reason, I believe me, I sat there and listened to that testimony. I know you have too. I'm really not clear on what it is that this fence is all about. What the issue there is, because whatever it was, the inmates were able to go right through it. But we've heard in that testimony, and still now, I guarantee you today, that fence issue is not fixed. But Novak is the one that's supposed. Have they fired Fuchs? Have they fired? No. No, because the main issue here is what gets on the news. So if there's reckless driving on the news, then we're going to have to do something to fix it. But that's not a solution. That's what I'm saying. And I absolutely agree that people driving 65 miles an hour in front of your house is a crime. It needs to be stopped immediately. Again, I just stress that as a civilization, the state of Wisconsin, the city of Milwaukee was able to do that for at least 90 years. And, why can't we do that now? I don't know. So that's my story about driving to work on a Saturday morning. Stick with us. We'll keep you informed.